I robbed a drug dealer in West Virginia, and I broke in his house. The drug dealer that I robbed was in with the law. The sheriff named Randall White. To be honest with you, he is my cousin, and I went in and I took cocaine and a variety of things from him. So the truth is, the sheriff and this guy, robbed drug dealer, was involved for many years, and I robbed the wrong one. So I got scared and I left West Virginia because I knew I was going to do a lot of time in prison. So I went to New Orleans, not knowing what I was really going to do, but just try to get away from the law. So I went under my brother's name, Chad White, and I went to New Orleans, and I became homeless. I got on the streets. Then I heard of a place called Camp Katrina, and I go to Camp Katrina, and it is a place with tents inside and a fence, and there's a house, and they have people that are street performers, and they do mimes work. So I knew I was running from the law and had to hide from the law, so I disguised myself to be a person became Machine Gun Mike by going to makeup shops and buying the stuff I needed to change my appearance, what I look like, and the whole reality of my life at the time, because I didn't want to get caught by the law. So I took pictures with the law daily, and they had no idea that I was running from them because of my crimes that I committed and I did time for. I got me a Tommy gun machine gun from Family Dollar. Okay, I had pants and shirt and a hat that I painted silver with spray paint. Then I got the makeup and that I put with alcohol and I mixed. I covered my face, my hands, and then they had this spray stuff that you could put in your hair like a color spray. And I sprayed my hair silver, so I can be completely hid and not known from no one but who I was at the time of my life. And I was Machine Gun Mike, running from the law every day, working every day on the streets of New Orleans, taking pictures with everyone that came around, from the law to people from other states, other countries. And some days I'd make $30, and then most of the days I'd make anywhere from $80 to $120. I had a real good time, actually. I really did. I enjoyed myself daily. In 1990, in Owsley County, Kentucky, my dad had a farm down there, and we was growing marijuana, and I got busted by the National Guard, by a Black Hawk helicopter. But how I got busted, that night I was guarding, me and three other people, Jimmy Hines, Joe Hines, and Roy Hines. We was guarding marijuana fields, and we got off work, and I went upstairs, and I just got in bed. I was probably sleeping an hour. And I hear this lady saying, they're out here, they're out here. So I didn't know what was going on. So I heard him come down the steps running real quick. And I look outside on the dirt road and I see like these green National Guard vehicles, and I hear a helicopter. So I go behind this big 2-story house, and we got some mother plants, female mother plants, seeded plants. So I go like cut some plants off with this knife, or some buds, because the seeds. But I hear a helicopter come, so I take off running real quick up this mountain. And I have this knife on me, and I have a pair of shorts on and a tank top. Well, I'll probably run 5 to 6 minutes up a mountain, up a little hillside, and I see National Guards behind me, like way behind me. So I get down, and there's a tree coming, like a tree like probably 5 feet high and probably this big around. But I get this tree, and I kind of like bring it down, trying to hide myself, because I see these National Guards coming up. Well, this one brother National Guard was like 20 feet in front of these other National Guards, and he was coming like this right here with a pistol, walking like if he were looking for me. And I had this tree limb coming down like a tree, like hiding me. And he comes right beside me, and I have this knife right here. And he comes beside me, and he's walking like this right here, probably 4 feet in front of me. And I holler at him, and he turns around, and he puts his gun on me. He says, Colonel, we got a hostage, we got a hostage. So here I stand up with this knife, and next thing I know, there was 25 to 30 National Guards got around me, and this one kept on telling me, give the knife, and I wouldn't give the knife for like a minute. So I finally give the knife to this guy, and they get me and they handcuff me and they take me down off the little hillside, and I go through a backer field, and then I go where the dirt road is where they got National Guard vehicles. They put me in a truck, in the back of a truck, and they bust two other people. They didn't get the fourth person, where he's passed away now, the dad. But they put me in a truck for like 3 or 4 hours, and I'm telling these National Guard stories about life, about true life, about this is in 1990. Why are you busting me for herbal medicine, marijuana, when there's people out here really hurting kids and hurting people everywhere, and you're getting me for marijuana? So I have a pair of handcuffs on my hand. The kind that don't have that little chain on it. This kind is like real little, it's tight. And I bet these guys told him that I could break these handcuffs. And sure as there's a God in heaven, I snapped these handcuffs off my hand. I jumped out of the back of a truck where they was, and they scattered back. I kind of freaked them out, but I didn't know. I was 19 at the time. You know, I was crazy. I was a marijuana grower. You know, I was in the wild, more or less. So I got busted, me and 3 other people. I got busted with $1.2 million worth. It was in 1990, and I was a fugitive from justice from 1990 to 1995, and they dropped the charges of May of 1995 because of, there was a special on 48 Hours in 1990 about marijuana, where they busted 6 sheriffs in the surrounding counties the same year they busted me for marijuana and cocaine and stuff, and it was a big like marijuana thing going on. So they busted a lot of people that year, the same year they busted me, and I was running for 5 years, and they finally dropped all charges on me. And that's my marijuana in 1990 that I got charged for and arrested. And I was only in jail for 2 weeks at the time. I made bond and got out. That's the only time I did for it. We used to grow a lot of marijuana in Kentucky. I got busted in 1990 in Kentucky with $1.2 million worth of marijuana, me and 3 other people at the time. Okay, bringing marijuana back to West Virginia. In my life, I used to buy Hoster cakes a lot, and Twinkies was one of my favorite cakes I would buy. And I would weigh the Twinkies out, would weigh an ounce. If you look on the outside of the box, there's 10 cakes in the box. So I'd weigh them out, and I would smuggle marijuana through Twinkies. I would buy 4 or 5 boxes, and I always have one box open, and I would take 6 Twinkies out of the middle, and I would refill them up with marijuana, and I'd weigh exactly what the Twinkies weighed that was inside of there, in case, you know, they would weigh it or shake it or fill it. So I'd fill up like 4 boxes of Twinkies with herbal medication, and I would come back to West Virginia many times, and they've been a couple times that the law actually stopped me and my brother. One time in McGoffin County, Kentucky, my older brother Scotty, and they actually searched the vehicle, and they did not bother the Twinkies. They opened the trunk up, and my brother had, well, we had 2 pounds of marijuana up under the tire that they did not see nothing. They didn't move their tires. They did not move their Twinkies or nothing. So I did that for quite a few years of my life, and I would use Twinkies was my main thing I would use. And I would seal the boxes of Twinkies up. When I got done, I would use super glue, and I would do it very fine. I mean, it took me many hours. It didn't take no 3 or 4 hours to unpackage this and do this. It took, many hours and hours and hours to do this. In 1993, in West Virginia, there was coal mines and striking was going on. And I was involved in the coal mines. I was a coal miner's son. I didn't actually work in the coal mines at the time, but I got involved in a strike, and from the month of July, August, September, October, there was a lot of things that happened, as in like guards being beat up, guard shacks being blowed up, coal trucks being blowed up. A lot of things happened, and I was involved with about everything that happened. So they brought to the FBI and U.S. Marshal and ATF because of the county sheriff cannot be involved in the mines during the time, in Boone County, the Boone County Sheriff Departments could not be involved in the strike in the county. So they had to bring outside, they brought the state police in, and then finally the FBI got involved, U.S. Marshal and ATF. So I was on the run in West Virginia from them for like almost 45, 46 days before I got with my dad and some other people, and they convinced me to turn myself in. They said they would get me a lawyer and get me out of jail, post my bond. So I finally turned myself in October 11th of 1993. And then when I turned myself in then, they was going to go my bond. My bond was $100,000 by the state, because the state had me for 2 counts of armed robbery, 2 grand larcenies, conspiracy, and arson, and aiding and abetting. Okay, so my bond was $100,000, and they was going to go my bond. Well, when they was going to go my bond, the next day later, the FBI stepped in, and they put, I forget what it's called, but they stopped it to where I could not get on bond, so I did not get to get out on bond. So altogether, I did 7 years in prison over that, the coal strike in the mines. I was the only one in Boone County charged and arrested for anything, and there was 200 to 300 coal miners involved in different crimes that happened, but I was the only one that did time for everybody. Because I talked with my dad and some other people that was involved that had families, that had kids, and I knew that if they would focus on me, because before one of the robberies happened, as when the guard shack got robbed, I was the main guy that went up there and told the guards that day that you got to be out here tonight at 8 o'clock. If you're not going to be out here tonight at 8 o'clock, then this place is going to be burnt down and robbed. Everything took out. So what happened that night at 8 o'clock, went up there with me and probably 40 or 50 coal miners behind me. And we made the guards get out, stripped down, took their bulletproof vest off of them, took their tripod systems, camcorder cameras, because they was videoing us. So we took everything they had, stripped them down, made them leave out of the guard shack. So from that point on, like I said, there was coal trucks that got, blew up, burned up. There was guards pulled out of Broncos that got beat up, burned up. One occasion, me and my dad was in his 79 Jeep Wrangler, and 2 Broncos came and crashed us and threw us off the guardrail on the road, and we went in the river. The Jeep flipped in the river, totaled the Jeep. These are all true stories of life that happened, when I was involved in the strike. Okay, how I became homeless was my drug addiction, to be honest with you. And by my drug addiction, I would do things, go rob drug dealers, and I got myself in a way to where I would run from the law a lot, and I would travel from state to state being homeless, from Texas to California to North Carolina to South Carolina to Florida. And then when I got in Florida in 1990, actually I was in Florida in 92, and I was on crack. I worked at Walt Disney World for 7 months. I lived on the streets for 7 months. I worked at Walt Disney World outside of St. Cloud, Kissimmee, Florida. And I smoked crack every day, and I was homeless because of my drug addiction. And from that point on, I was on drugs until 2010, when I did make it to New Orleans, and I've not did drugs since 2010, from cocaine to any kind of heavy drug, nothing like that. And then I come to where I'm at today in Portland, Oregon, and I come here, and why I'm homeless is because I came for herbal medication to grow marijuana like I have a lot of my life, and I got caught with half an ounce in West Virginia in 2002, and I did 2.5 years in prison over half ounce of marijuana. Well, when I come to Oregon, I find out that there's a law that they passed stating if I've been convicted of possession of marijuana, I cannot work in the dispensaries here or buy my license. So I kind of became homeless here in Portland, Oregon, and I did have a job for 4 months. I was working at Central City Concern for them, and I get in a couple fights during this time because of me standing up for a lady and an old man that was getting beat up by a couple guys. So I get kicked out of the facility where I was at. For about a month and a half I was out, homeless on the street again. And then I came back to the facility, and that is where I'm currently staying right now, waiting to get a house of my own, a place to live. That I've done been approved for. It's just not happened yet. It hurts my heart because I got a passion for marijuana. To me, it's an herbal medication, it's a medicine, and it helps people, and it helped me get off drugs. It helps me to stay off drugs. You know, and I came out here to grow marijuana and to help others. And that's why I came here for, and it does bother me a lot in many ways, but I know there's a way I can work through this to get to what I want to do, and that's my passion. I want to grow herbal medication. I want to help people. I don't want them to do drugs. I want them to, if they could do anything, do herbal medicine. So that's what I'm here for.